Hello and welcome to Feminine Initiate Podcast. I'm your host, Jess West. I hope you're having an incredible day so far. Earlier this week, I was listening to a podcast episode on Wealthy with Christina Galbato, and it was one of her earlier episodes, I believe in 2020 or 2021, when she was interviewing Reese Evans, founder of Yes Supply, which is the certification program that I took to deepen my understanding in the subconscious mind and equip me with all of the incredible transformational subconscious tools that I have that I use daily on myself and guide my clients through. And in this episode, they were briefly talking about imposter syndrome and how to overcome it. And the angle in which they shared imposter syndrome is an angle that I had never considered before. And I wanted to share it with you on this episode. So this episode is for you if you are experiencing imposter syndrome in your online business. I want to give you practical ways that you can release it and overcome it, no matter which way you're looking at imposter syndrome or which way you're approaching it or experiencing it. And I also want to share how I believe that there is a rise in imposter syndrome due to AI, artificial intelligence. And if you're experiencing it, how you can shift your relationship with AI. All right, let's hop in. So first, I want to share the dictionary definition of imposter syndrome. The dictionary defines it as the persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved as a result of one's own efforts or skills. It's when you doubt your own skills and successes, and when you feel that you're not as talented or as worthy as others believe. And my understanding and experience with imposter syndrome has been due to inner wounds and limiting beliefs, really not feeling enough within myself. And if this is your experience with imposter syndrome too, I'm going to be sharing how you can release it. But first, let's look at the other way that we can look at imposter syndrome that was shared on the podcast episode that I listened to. The other way is we can feel imposter syndrome if we are legitimately exaggerating our skills or legitimately exaggerating our accomplishments, making them seem bigger than they actually were, or we're exaggerating our promises. In this case, when we are exaggerating in our promotional material, let's say, the solution is very simple. Just stop. Stop exaggerating and start recognizing your own value. Know that you don't have to be the absolute expert in your field in order to offer real value to your clients. Know that what you've lived and what you've experienced and what you know is so valuable. Just as it is. You don't need to add anything more. You are enough. And there are so many others who can benefit from what you have to offer. And those people are waiting for exactly what it is that you have to offer, exactly what it is that you experience, and exactly how you are going to be able to offer that transformation to them. It's so easy to compare ourselves with others and start marketing ourselves and our services in ways that kind of stretch the truth of what we've actually accomplished or of what we actually feel confident, capable, and competent of helping our clients with, because it's what we think that the market wants, or we think it's what we need to do in order to be successful. But what you have is enough, more than enough even. Plus, there's a market for virtually anything. And so we don't have to compromise ourselves to fit in a market. And if you feel that you do, then it's quite possible that you're just in the wrong market or you're in the wrong niche altogether. Let me give you a personal example and a recent example of how I navigated imposter syndrome. Shortly after I launched my podcast in January 2023, originally it was under the name Empower From Within, it quickly gained traction and it was streamed in over 40 countries in its first year, and I got to top 10% globally. And then I started to get people ask me how I started my podcast and how I was able to grow it so quickly. I also had a coach tell me that I should just create a podcasting course since I already had people asking me for it. Mindset and manifestation had always been where my heart is, but I felt that maybe podcasting was a better route for me since I already had people interested. So I created an incredible program called Just Launch, and I incorporated mindset and podcasting into one powerful container. But as I got started with it and started to enroll clients, I quickly felt like I needed to know more. I needed to know more about the podcast tech, the editing softwares, the podcast industry as a whole. I needed to know it all to best guide my clients and be able to answer all of their questions, really. These were all things that I hadn't even considered when I started my podcast, because honestly, I just started it because I enjoyed it so much. I didn't start it for my business or anything like that. I loved it. And so during that whole first year, I didn't really care to look at the downloads or the subscribers. I honestly didn't even pay attention to it. I didn't even recognize that I was top 10% until I joined a podcasters group on Facebook and I saw people starting to share some of their analytics. And then I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll take a look. And oh my gosh, here I am. But now that I was to share it with my clients and share the how-to steps with my clients, I felt like I needed to be on top of all of the things podcast related to give my clients real value. I felt like a total imposter. And like what I had done wasn't enough. I was also comparing myself with other podcast coaches in the industry and feeling like I really needed to know more. And no matter how much I would learn about the industry, no matter how much information I would gather and put into my program, I kept adding more value into it, which is also an indicator that you might be suffering from imposter syndrome, by the way. If you feel like you continuously need to add more value to your offers and to your program, just adding more and more and more when you really don't, there is such thing as having too much value. And what you know is already enough. And so if you always feel like you need to add more and add more, that could be a big indicator. And know that you only have to be 1 or 2 steps ahead from someone else to be able to help that person. You don't need to be 10 or 20, whatever steps in front of them to have value to share. So anyways, no matter what I would do, I couldn't shake off the feeling of being an imposter, and positioning myself as this like podcast expert just felt off. And so I stopped the program. Even though Just Launch is a complete program and packed with value, it's no longer available. Maybe I'll release it sometime in the future, or maybe I won't, but I'm putting my own alignment before anything else because that's honestly all that matters. But I'm so glad that I went through that experience though, because it taught me so many things. For one, your journey is important and valuable enough. I cannot stress this enough. You do not have to pretend to be someone you're not. Focus on building the belief in yourself and loving yourself just as you are and being confident in sharing that. Because when you are fully yourself and when you're totally transparent, authentic, and honest in your messaging, you will attract the right clients who see you for who you are. And honestly, those will be the clients that you will have the best time serving. The second thing that I learned is that you don't have to teach and monetize everything you're good at. Allow yourself to simply enjoy the things because you enjoy it. And the third thing I learned is don't allow other people, even if they're your coach and even if they're well-meaning, don't allow other people to get into your head and influence you into things that feel misaligned. When you tune into yourself, you will be able to know the difference between what's aligned and what's misaligned. If you need to reason yourself into doing something, or even reason yourself out of doing something, in either case, if it's not aligned with the truth of you, you'll have to convince yourself one way or the other, because your intuition doesn't need convincing. Your intuition is just, it is what it is. I want to do this. I want to be moved into this direction. Yes, 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 this. And so pay attention to your feeling. Cultivate that self-love within yourself, that love, that acceptance, that yes, I am following my truth. I am standing here. I am being my authentic self. And that is going to help guide you. But this third point here really gets me into, so when we're talking about if we allow outside sources, other people, it can also be AI to influence us into things that feel misaligned. AI is linked to the rise in imposter syndrome. I feel like I don't know many coaches today that don't use AI platforms like ChatGPT or others to help them generate content for their online business, marketing, promotion, email campaigns, all of the things. I see it as we can use ChatGPT or AI, whatever platform you're using, in 3 different ways. We can use it as an idea generator. It generates ideas, and then you grab one and then go and write a post on your own based on that idea. Or you write your own post and then you upload that into chat and it will, correct it for you and correct the grammar and all of that to be able to publish it. It's nice and beautiful and polished. Or you go into AI and you can have it create your entire post from scratch. No ideas. It generates all of it. And unfortunately, I feel like many people do the latter. They just use AI to create their entire content. They use it to create their social posts and outline their videos and craft their emails and even create their entire courses and programs. Don't get me wrong, AI is an incredible tool and such a time saver. But I feel like the more that we depend on AI to create our content, the less we're going to trust ourselves. And the real challenge comes when AI can structure sentences and convey ideas in such a way that we wouldn't normally do. And so the content that AI generates for us sounds so amazing and like it makes our offer sound so incredible. But is it actually truly us? Is it truly a true depiction of what it is that we're offering? Does it come naturally to us? Are we going to be able to convey our offers in the same way as chat is when we're speaking to someone face to face in person, or when we're speaking, over the phone or over a Zoom call? Like, is this really how we're going to be able to share our offers and present it? Is there going to be a discrepancy between how we are presenting our information in like typed form and how we're actually speaking our information? I mean, this is making me think of the keyboard warriors. Like, are we going to end up being that because we can't actually match exactly what chat or other AI softwares are saying? And is this just going to leave us feeling inadequate? We may find ourselves getting caught up with the narratives that AI is giving us, and before we know it, we feel like total imposters in our own business. I have a story for this. So when Dev and I were restructuring Trésor House, we put all of our ideas into ChatGPT to start putting together a business plan. And my idea for naming my company, Trésor House, has always been because I wanted to convey an idea that you are the treasure. So trésor is the French word for treasure. So we put all these ideas and I put this little slogan, "You're the treasure," and all of that into chat. And of course, it came out with a whole bunch of incredible ideas, things that we would have never thought of. It created a slogan for us. It was called "The Treasure House is You, and we're just going to give you the keys." It gave me the title too, Energy Alchemist. And it crafted our entire branding strategy. It sounded amazing. And it felt so good. And we were so excited in the moment, thinking about all the possibilities. And like, I felt so ready to transform my business. But then we decided to sit on it. And as I sat with it, I realized that it wasn't me at all. Like, I love the title Energy Alchemist. To me, it gives me a feeling of like esoteric mystery and magic. And part of me thought it would be so cool to have a title like that, like, wow. But then another part of me knew that I wouldn't be able to keep up with it because the true me is more simplistic. The true me values clarity. The true me has a hard time with ambiguity. So maybe it'll be me one day, for me one day, but definitely not today. That's too much of a stretch for me. And I know that if I would have went for it, which I really did feel like doing at that moment, like when we were so excited and chat just kept spitting out all of these incredible ideas, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm going to go and change the bio on my social media platforms. We're going to rebrand our website. It's going to be so great. But I know that sooner than later, I would have ended up feeling like a stranger in my own business if I would have just totally went for it and totally went for this initial feeling of excitement and didn't allow myself to really sit with it and contemplate and really feel it within my body. And so when you're using AI, make sure to use your discretion and always put yourself at the center. Check in with yourself first and ask yourself, with whatever it's generating for you, is this a true representation of me? Does this feel natural to me? Does this feel in alignment with me? Or am I trying to become the version of myself that AI has created? And the more that we can take a pause, make some space between the answers that we receive and us, and really tune in and feel, then we can always remain in integrity with ourselves, in alignment with ourselves, and we can help mitigate or avoid any feelings of being an imposter because we're truly building our business and our offerings true to us as opposed to some outside source. AI does not know the exact steps that it took you to get from point A to point B, which is what you're going to be sharing with your clients. So you are the expert. You know best, and don't give that power away. All right, let's switch the perspective. What happens if we feel like an imposter because we're attracting the clients that we wanted, we're attracting the recognition that we wanted, and we're achieving the business success that we wanted, but we don't feel like we deserve it. We don't feel like we're worthy of it. Or maybe we're hesitant to put our offers out there altogether because we don't feel like we're good enough and we doubt that anyone could ever benefit from what we have to share. These kinds of feelings are likely due to inner wounds and limiting beliefs. We know that from the ages of 0 to 7, our minds were like giant tape recorders, recording everything that was being said and that was happening around us. We were absorbing everything we could in order to form our base of reality. So we picked up things from our family, our caretakers, peers, neighbors, society as a whole, from the TV, the news, movies, from the behaviors of people that we saw in public. Like literally, we were picking up everything that we could to give us a sense of what the world is and how to operate in it. And if, as a child, you were told to stop talking, you're not smart enough, you're not important enough, nobody cares, or if you were made to feel that way somehow, this became your belief system. This became your inner wound and your false belief today. And these beliefs are held in our subconscious mind, and they can go unnoticed for so many years because they're in the unconscious. So they go unnoticed until something happens in our life to trigger these feelings, like when we receive attention, like when we receive recognition or money in our business, like whatever it is that is contrary to what we believe to be true of ourselves. If it's contrary, we will feel like an imposter. We will ask ourselves, like, who am I to have this? I'm not smart. I'm not important. Nobody cares. How can I have this? I feel like an imposter. Oftentimes, though, this recognition is enough to help us release these feelings of being an imposter. Like knowing that this is just a limiting belief that was formed in childhood from, having picked up the thoughts, the comments of those around us. That's just it. It was stories of the past, but it holds no weight on who you are today and where you're going. Sometimes this realization is enough to just keep moving forward anyways, so that when these thoughts rise up, when this feeling of imposter comes up, we can kind of just acknowledge it and just, okay, I'm going to keep going though because I know better. But for persistent inner wounds and for, these limiting inner voices that we can't shake off so easily, there is a technique that I'm going to share with you that you can do, and that is reparenting your inner child. Because now that you are the older, mature adult that you now are, you are better able to give your younger self the care and the love that you would have needed in that moment when you received that negative comment or when you felt that negative way and there was no one there to be able to give you that care and that love. So when you feel imposter syndrome come on, take a moment to connect with your subconscious mind. Take a pause, take a deep breath, ground yourself into this present moment, and ask your subconscious mind, why am I feeling this way? And ask it to guide you to the time when that belief was created, the belief that, I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy of this. You will recall a memory. Your subconscious mind holds all of your memories, even the ones that you weren't conscious of. And so you will be guided once you really allow yourself to be in this moment. Your subconscious will show you the way. And so you'll recall a memory. You'll see your younger self. And without getting caught in the emotion of your younger self, see yourself now, your adult self, walk into that scene. And give your younger self a hug and anything else that your younger self would have needed in that moment. Give your younger self reassurance from the future. Tell her what you have amounted together, what you have created together. Tell her about the life that you're leading now. Tell her that all is well. Tell her that whoever hurt her didn't know any better. And tell her whatever she needs to know to be able to release the hurt and the limiting belief. And you're going to feel that release. You're going to feel a shift. And you can repeat this process whenever you feel like you're an imposter and when you get to that root cause, when you ask your subconscious, why am I feeling this way? And you will get the answer. And as a last point, I also want to say that I've also experienced times in my life where I got so caught up with life that I ended up forgetting the things that I've accomplished or the things that I've achieved, and I tend to downplay myself. I don't know if you've done this too, but sometimes I get so caught up or so just involved in this problem that I'm having that I tend to forget who I am, that I tend to forget all of the things that I've already accomplished. And of course, this is no different. And so in order to help me prevent myself from getting there or getting to that point, I turned to evidence journaling. And I know this is something that I mention a lot on the podcast, and I just can't stop saying it because it's honestly such a powerful tool. And so I've used evidence journaling to help track my successes and also to help strengthen my self-image and remember just how incredible I am. So if you're guilty of that too, of just downplaying yourself, then I honestly highly recommend evidence journaling, such a powerful tool. So these are the ways that I know of to overcome imposter syndrome, whether you're looking at it from that external perspective of looking outside of yourself in comparison, or from the internal perspective when you're looking more towards your inner wounds and limiting beliefs. I hope this episode resonated with you, and if it did and you know of someone else who can benefit from it, then please share it with them. I would also love to know your biggest takeaway from today and if you resonated with one of these perspectives more than the other. So if you're listening to this on YouTube or Spotify, please leave a comment to let me know all about it. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and until next time, be empowered. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to hit subscribe so that you never miss an episode, and I'll see you next time.